In the 1970s and 80s, India witnessed a change in preference. From buying scooters, families were now buying more motorbikes. The reason for this change provides a good insight into the Indian mindset. Scooters were the perfect family vehicle. They had a small storage space under the seat, a spare tire, space for a child to stand in the front. It was even more comfortable for women to sit in the back. And to top it all off, it even costed less than a bike. Then why the change? The main reason why people in the 70s and 80s preferred a motorbike was because the operating cost was one-third that of a scooter. And it gave better mileage than scooters, being a 4-stroke engine against a scooter's 2-stroke. This tells us that Indians are very operating cost conscious and we'll be willing to pay more upfront if the day-to-day cost can be kept down. And this is exactly why electric vehicles will do very well in India. Not only are you saving fuel cost, but your running costs are also reduced in a big way in EVs, with savings in the form of service, repairs and maintenance. Imagine this scenario. A father gives his son a vehicle on his 18th birthday, which is very common in India. So the upfront cost is borne by the father, but the day-to-day expense of maintaining that vehicle, be it a car or a bike, is probably going to come out from the son's pocket. So now, don't you think the son will push for an EV? Okay, with that in mind, let me tell you about which stocks are set to benefit from the EV revolution. But first, a disclaimer. No company listed on the stock exchange is a pure play EV company. Means every listed EV company caters to conventional petrol diesel vehicles as well. For example, Tata Motors makes internal combustion engine or ICE cars as well as EVs. Bosch makes components for ICE vehicles as well as EVs, and so on. So there are many ways you can play the EV theme in India. For example, you can buy stocks of car manufacturers like Tata Motors and Mahindra, two-wheeler manufacturers like Hero Moto Corp or TVS Motors, bus and truck manufacturer Ashok Leyland. There are battery makers Amara Raja, Exide and Tata Chemicals. Companies that make components for EVs like Sona BLW, Endurance Tech and Bosch. Companies that make industrial machinery for EVs like Greaves Cotton and Olectra Green Tech. Power generation and charging infrastructure companies like Tata Power and Power Grid Corporation. And even companies that make software for EVs such as Tata Elxsi and KPIT Tech. If you're confused with so many options, maybe you can instead go in for the electric vehicle Smallcase, which is an ETF or a collection of EV stocks in one basket. And this way you have exposure to the entire electric vehicle ecosystem. They have 12 stocks in their portfolio now and rebalance every quarter. Currently, this Smallcase or the entire basket of EV stocks costs around 36,000 rupees. And it moves up or down based on the average and weightage of these stocks. And these selected stocks are expected to do well with increased adoption of EVs. But if you want to know about individual stocks, here you go. From among the four-wheeler space, Mahindra & Mahindra is a better pick over Tata Motors as it's a more stable company with better financials. None of the two-wheeler stocks impress me as much from an EV standpoint as of now. There are better players in the unlisted space from two-wheelers in my opinion. From among the battery makers, Tata Chemicals look well positioned because of its excellent parentage and opportunities in the chemical manufacturing sector and its foray into lithium-ion batteries. Tata Power is another great company for investment. It has an ambitious plan of setting up EV charging stations throughout the country and has reduced debt in a big way as well recently. Olectra Green Tech is another interesting company. It's a small company that manufactures products mainly for electric buses. Both the software makers are very good stocks. KPIT Tech has a very futuristic business model and is into autonomous driving and connected vehicle tech, which are very essential for EVs. And Tata Elxsi, even though it's expected to have a few soft quarters going ahead because of the reduced demand IT companies are facing, you can get it at a reasonable valuation and it will make for an excellent investment for long term. And both companies have very good financials as well. And finally, I think the way to play the EV theme in India is through component manufacturers. Endurance Tech, Bosch and Motherson Sumi are all good investments for the long term. But my favorite of the lot is Sona BLW. It manufactures various components, mostly for EVs, but also for conventional ICE vehicles. They count world-class companies among their clients. Once you move past its slightly comical name, you'll find that Sona BLW is a great stock to invest in based on two parameters. The first one is best-in-class margins. By this I mean it has an operating profit margin of 24.2%. And this despite inflation eating away at its margins, which were almost 28% last year. The second is its order book or advanced orders placed by car manufacturers. And this one is an entire 20,500 crores, which is 9.6 times its latest revenue. This provides safety going ahead, and one can comfortably predict its future sales. Europe, which is one of its markets, is expected to go into recession, which can hamper sales in the short run, and hence its share price has declined lately. But I see this as an opportunity to buy Sona BLW at a reasonable price. Thank you for tuning in.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.